there's Tiburon, which is Spanish for shark. Even the name Alcatraz comes from the Spanish name for pelicans, Los Alcatraces. We're passing another place with a name that came from the Spanish. Over to the left is the island the Spanish call La Isla de Nuestra Señora de los Ángeles, the island of Our Lady of the Angels. Nowadays, we just call it Angel Island. 2,000 years ago, Angel Island was home to the Miwok Indians. The Miwok lived a good life on a small island paradise, hunting in the island forest and fishing in the bay. Later, the Spanish used it as a military base, and later still, the U.S. Army set up shop. In open spaces designed with hiking and biking. And it is once again an island paradise in the middle of the bay. You can visit today by taking a blue and gold fleet ferry. But there's another chapter in Angel Island's history that began in the late 1800s, when the United States government built an immigration center on the island. Angel Island became the Ellis Island of the West. For more than 50 years, thousands of Asian immigrants passed through Angel Island. Many of them were held on the island until they could prove that they had relatives already living in the United States.
My name is John G.O.T. I came here in 1924. I went to the island, what they call Angel Island.
The immigrants were questioned for hours, and their answers were compared with statements made by other family members.
First, they asked my names, my parents' names, and brothers and sisters, and later on they asked about the house, how many doors, how many windows.
The price of a wrong answer was deportation. But today, the old detention center houses a museum, a monument to San Francisco's Asian immigrants, men and women who fought their way past legal barriers and racial prejudice to enjoy America's promise of a brighter future. The one and only Alcatraz Island. It's directly ahead. Once, the only creatures that lived on that barren rock were flocks of pelicans. In fact, that's where Alcatraz got its name. The Spanish named the island after the pelicans, Los Alcatraces. The U.S. Army decided Alcatraz Island was the perfect place for a fort to defend the bay from invaders. But this cold and windy rock was such an unpleasant place that they changed their minds. It was now the perfect place for a military prison, and eventually a federal penitentiary. It was a time when gangsters were becoming heroes to people. The government needed to send a message that crime did not pay, so they created Alcatraz, the very last stop in the country's prison system, the place to send the worst criminals of all.
Yeah, my name is Leon Whitey Thompson. My number was 1465, AZ 1465. I was a man that had total hatred in them days. I hated anything that walked the crawl on this earth. And when you got a man like that in prison, you got to get rid of him. And that's what they did. They shipped me to Alcatraz.
These were hard men, kidnappers, bank robbers, killers, men so dangerous that when the first batch arrived by train in 1934, not one was allowed to step down onto free soil. They simply loaded the train cars, one by one, onto barges, and floated them out to the island with the inmates chained up inside. Rumor was that if a man died on Alcatraz, his corpse would leave the same way, stone cold dead, but in chains. With men like these, you could never be too careful. The building you see on top of the hill was the inmate's new home, the Alcatraz cell house. One described it as a tomb of living souls. Some would stay for a year, others for 20 or 25 years or more. To get an idea of the accommodations inside, go ahead and reach your arm